Hey everyone, this is a Fighting Chance Wrestling podcast bringing you another episode 6. Again, my name is Cliff. I'm here with Jay and Joey, and we have a lot to talk about because it's been a while. So there is a lot of news out there, a lot of things, different things that we're seeing in the shows. So we're going to discuss that, and we have a topic that I think there's going to be a resurgence, but women's wrestling, we'll talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, later in the show, we're going to have Joey's 2 cents. So, guys, let's talk about the news.
Let's go.
Let's talk about the news. So,
All right.
We've heard, I think it was it 2 weeks ago, just after our 5th episode, that there is actually more to Vince's scandal, that more money was actually paid. So it keeps getting worse for Vince, right? Stories, and it's kind of justifying him, stepping down. But on top of that, it kind of brings into, John Laurenitis, right? He apparently was part of this scandal as well. His name was brought up a lot, and ultimately led to his firing. And then if anyone doesn't know, John Laurenitis has been the was a VP of Talent Relations, which is essentially what Triple H just took over, right?
I was Triple job.
Yeah, so he was under investigation too, and they say it was quietly fired, right? But he is obviously made public. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? John Laurenitis out.
So what I saw, like I said, back to the Vince McMahon thing, I saw on an article, it was another, $5 million in payments.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, another $5 million in payments, no details provided of who it went to or why. The other ones, at least we got a little bit of information. This one, nothing so far. It brought the total to $19.6 million in hush money.
Right.
And McMahon is still a stockholder with controlling interest in WWE still, though. So remember that.
Yeah. But just because he's a stockholder, I mean, does he have say? Or he's just making money off the business?
I don't know. Like Cousin Joey says, you might ask him a question or two,
Right.
How long has he been with the company?
Vince?
No.
Oh, John
Laurenitis?
Yeah,
he's been there since 2001.
2001, but didn't they recently give him back the talent relate? Like, he was off for a while.
Yeah.
Then he went back into the role recently, not too long ago.
Yeah.
They took it away from him.
I'm sorry?
They took it away from him. Something was happening, and they kind of took it away, and then they gave it back to him. So
yeah, and then what's it called? So yeah, and if no one knows, John Laurenitis is also the brother of Animal, right? From Legion of Doom. Oh, I forgot his real name. Do you know his real name?
My cousin Joey. This should be your time.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up because yeah. So Legion of Doom. Anyone knows that tag team was an amazing tag team back in the day of I believe the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah,
they were prominent. Very badass tag team. Obviously Hawk had passed away too soon from I believe alcohol, if I'm not mistaken. And he passed away, and then Animal was left, and had a little stint with Hayden, which is absolutely terrible. But he had little stints here and there, but he also had passed away. John Laurenitis never made it as big as his brother, but his biggest thing was being, a backstage role, a prominent backstage role, not just a little one, VP of Talent Relations.
Yeah.
And then obviously they gave that title to Triple H. And again, another one, Triple H is, you feel it, right? You feel
Mm.
that his presence is there, and they get rid of John Laurenitis, and now you're starting to see the people that, and we'll tap into it a little bit later, but we're starting to see those people that Triple H cared for
Yeah.
are returning. All right. So yeah, that pretty much sums up that news. It's just not getting good for Vince at all. It keeps getting worse as the investigation keeps going. And it's good that he's not, he's not in the spotlight anymore. Like,
Yeah.
as a prominent figure in WWE, he shouldn't be. He should be taking a back seat after all of this. Another news I want to touch on that actually happened recently. I only heard about this maybe yesterday. Drew McIntyre's injury. Drew McIntyre's injured, but expected to wrestle at Clash of the Castle
Yep.
against Roman Reigns, but they have pulled him from all of the house shows. And for people who are listening who aren't wrestling fans, house shows are pretty much shows that aren't televised. They're shows that go on. Wrestlers, they do have shows and they travel all over for live events that aren't televised. And he's been pulled from them. They don't want him wrestling because they don't want him hurting himself further, so he can make it to Clash of the Castle. What do you guys thoughts on? What's your guys' thoughts? I think that's a good thing, in my opinion. I think
it's better to be safe than sorry. Like I said, with him being in the main event, across the seas, you don't want to take a chance of him getting hurt in Atlantic. I think they were going to be in Maryland and Atlantic City this weekend. You don't want him to get hurt in Atlantic City. You know what I mean, for something silly, and then you got to change things. He's been having lower back issues. They're saying he just needs some just additional rest, like you said, Cliff. No surgery or anything, but yeah, totally agree with it. He doesn't need to be wrestling in Maryland and Atlantic City this weekend. You get someone else to do it.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself at risk.
Yeah, and
I just seen it. It said on the sports media that there's no need for back surgery right now. Right, that's what they emphasize, right now. But they're gonna keep it so, like Jay said, no fighting in Atlantic City, so on. But they're gonna keep it as Clash and then go it day by day and see how it is up leading to then.
And that should give him plenty of time, and hopefully, it's not anything, too bad. I mean, like you said, Jay, I read that too, where no surgery is required at the moment. But again, it goes for any sport, right? So, like, if you're talking about baseball too, like, the New York Mets, their best pitcher is Jacob deGrom. He's injury prone, right? So they're not going to, if we're getting closer to the World Series, they want him to play for the World Series. They're going to have him rest rather than re-injure himself if he's feeling like, achy or whatever it is. Same case scenario for anything. It's very smart, and it goes to show you that they're starting, they care about the wrestlers now.
Yes.
I feel like before, in the early 2000s, even maybe, in the Attitude Era, you hear stories about these wrestlers playing with injury all the time, right?
Yep.
And no one gave a crap. And it seems like, they're caring for their wrestlers now. Like, they're hurt. All right, we'll put them on the sidelines and have him there for the important shows, right? Because that's what matters at the end of and it's looking at it in a bigger picture too. So kudos to WWE for doing that. But again,
and he could still do his promos on Smackdown. There's no reason to put him in a singles match right now, even on TV. There's no need for it. Don't risk it.
No, and it's like, they could do little segments here and there. The whole
you want to throw Usos over the top rope and go, like stuff like that. That's fine, but you don't need to, him versus Jay, him versus, no.
Yeah, it's you don't have to do that, and because Drew McIntyre, everyone knows Drew McIntyre is a top star. He's not going to lose any stock for doing something like that. Pretty much similar to what he he actually wrestled a full match on SmackDown, so which we'll touch on. But so that's pretty much it on the Drew McIntyre front. I hope he gets better because, that would be a big hit in my opinion. Because not for nothing, WWE in my opinion, is struggling to find those top stars. If you look
Right
at the
now,
roster up and down, Drew McIntyre is one of them.
Yeah.
They had lost Cody Rhodes. And I want to touch on Cody Rhodes in a little bit because I read a couple of things that are kind of interesting recently, and I want to touch on that.
So if McIntyre did get hurt, who would you put in against Reigns? Let's just say, like, who would you even think of putting in?
Panic button.
Goldberg.
or Brock Lesnar.
I was gonna say
Never
please,
again,
please
but this
do.
time it's overseas, so it doesn't count.
For the 1,000th time, Roman Reigns versus Brock, or Roman
Right.
Reigns versus Goldberg.
We'll have another segment
Get
no
outta
longer
here.
for Brocky too.
No, you know what? That panic button was a Vince McMahon panic button. I'm pretty sure Triple H would have decided something else.
So,
Who do you put against Roman Reigns if McIntyre couldn't go?
Lashley.
Right? It's like,
I wouldn't do Lashley because Lashley's strong right now, and I wouldn't want to kill his thing right now. Him being as U.S. champion, he's having a good run. Who would you put against Roman?
I don't know. I don't know if you did like a champion versus champion match just to get out of things, like a United States title versus the heavyweight.
Unless if they do a similar like finish like they did with Brock, where they make Lashley look strong,
Yeah.
and lose. They could do that.
Pick up the whole stadium instead of the
You
ring.
know what I would find interesting if it was champion versus champion, but Intercontinental champion versus WWE champion. Gunther.
Okay, yeah, that could be.
Or Walter.
Yeah,
Versus Roman Reigns, and see the physicality out of that match.
that'd be, yeah.
I'm very high on Gunther, or Walter. I hate that they changed his name. I hate that they changed his name. Oh, speaking of Gunther, an interesting article that I read is that you remember when Gunther had that match against R-Truth recently, and pretty much like squashed R-Truth.
Yeah,
And this was before Vince McMahon stepped down. Apparently, this is the rumors is that Vince didn't like Gunther's appearance, not appearance like the way he looks, but like something about him during that moment irked him to the point where he was planning a squash to squash Gunther because of that.
Really?
I heard about that too.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That's why.
But
Yeah.
now, obviously he's not there. Triple H is there, and he's being built strong. So I think that's funny. And
Yeah. Why would you do that?
I think that would have been the dumbest thing in the world, because he
Yeah.
has this presence about him that's like, he looks like that, almost dictatorial, general kind of.
Yeah.
And he just has that he has everything. So in my opinion, that would have been the dumbest thing in the world. And that's we'll touch on it later, but that was a great match that I saw between him and Shinsuke.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched it, definitely watch that match, because it was very entertaining. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But other than that, we're going back to the Drew McIntyre thing. To sum it up, hope he gets better. And
It's
that
going to
it's
be a real good match.
It's nothing too serious, so we don't have to think about who Roman Reigns
Right.
is. It would be interesting to find out, but
Goldberg.
no, get out of here with Goldberg.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Not Goldberg.
Nobody's next. Go home already.
Yeah, Goldberg needs to be next in the retirement home, and that's it. He needs to stay.
Nah.
What?
No.
Yes.
His matches just haven't been good. I'm sorry. I've been a
They're
Goldberg
all
fan
the
growing up.
same.
They've
They're
been
all the
horrible.
same.
He's 52 years old.
So what? So was The Undertaker.
And he still moved.
Yeah.
All right.
Goldberg, no. I just, like I said, I was a fan of Goldberg growing up. I just, no. At this point.
It's all hype.
some people just have a spotlight for a real long.
Hey, you know what? Watch. You know what match you should watch to show you how bad Goldberg is. Watch the match that he had against Steven Regal or William.
I've seen it.
You've seen
I've
it?
seen it.
Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah. That's exposure 101.
Okay, can we move on before I laugh too hard?
All right, so the next topic that I wanted to discuss is with the current news is everyone's ranting and raving about what Bray Wyatt will do. Bray Wyatt did put up a cryptic, I think it was either an Instagram post or a Twitter post, but I will try to do my magic and put it to the right of me or to the left of me and do my little pop-ups that I like to do. Yeah, so everyone's anticipating a return with WWE. If he already signed with WWE, that is, who knows?
Yeah.
But he did post a pretty cryptic, what's it called? Like note about how wrestling is not just love; it's something else. It's like, all and like almost signaling that there is going to be another chapter of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Whether that's with WWE or with which I would assume, because that's his home, right?
Yeah.
And I think, in my opinion, I think he might have had a better relationship with Triple H than he did with Vince McMahon, and that's why he left or he was released, I believe. They said that he became too difficult to work with, but that's only because he had his ideas. See, that's the thing, like, I don't understand is like these wrestlers are proven to have good ideas. They put it out there, it gets over, and it's good, right? But then Vince McMahon doesn't trust them and like has to, and it's like, dude, your formula is not working anymore.
Exactly.
Let people do what they need to do.
I feel personally that, and it's not because now Vince McMahon's gone, so people bragged on him, because obviously it's like, if you talk about wrestling, I don't care if you're not a wrestler fan or you are. First person that comes to mind is not a wrestler, Vince McMahon. I think that Vince McMahon was, he like I said it before, he has mastered this so well that it's almost as if he's thick-headed now. So it's you're telling him something, he's like, nah, I don't want to hear this. This is not. Triple H, on the other hand, where he's understand it, he's seen it from also a new generation side, and now he's really starting to say, you know what, that sounds like a good idea. All right, I'm open to stuff like that. And I think that it'll take Triple H a little bit of time, not as much time as Vince, obviously, because it's already rolling with wrestling. But Triple H, I don't think he's a good in front of the news media. They had him with a couple of segments, and I seen it, and it was like, I think he was struggling to find the right words. But you could see the way he was presenting himself in front of the media that this is going to be a new, different chapter about how it's going to be run.
I think I know what you're talking about, because I think I saw those clips too. I think he just didn't want to give away too much. So yeah, you're right. I think he was trying to figure out what to say without giving away too much.
That's the one where they were. That's the one where they were having the training, right? The tryouts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like we were mentioning before, you have to trust your wrestlers. That those are like, your employees. Like how, especially if they're getting over, like you mentioned, Cliff, how do you not trust them? And I think that was a major issue with Bray and Vince, from what I was reading, that Vince just wasn't trusting him and his ideas, and supposedly also as well was, commenting about his physique and stuff like that, and they weren't getting along. And I mean, this guy was your number one merchandise seller. He was so over. I think within the last 3 or 4 years, I think this is like your biggest mistake, was getting rid of Bray Wyatt.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I was shocked when the two guys that I was shocked about was Bray and Braun.
Yeah.
Especially after Braun just went through a title run, right? And then like shortly after, and I get budget cuts, please, but
there's no money that needs to be cut there.
Nah, they make a lot of money. Yeah, everyone knows that. They made they're doing these cuts and everything, and then you hear like their profit reports, and they're more profitable than the year before, And during COVID, right, which was, hit everybody, but yet WWE was still profitable, like more than they ever have been. And it's like, how is that?
Yeah.
And a lot of that, with Bray Wyatt too, is that, yeah, you're right. He's selling out places, selling out merch more than anyone else has since like Stone Cold Steve Austin or John Cena. And
just like that, like he's been released. I mean, I had to refresh my page 3 times. Like, there's no way this is real. This is like your top guy. That's like you said, getting rid of your Stone Cold, of your Rock back in the time.
Vince was never high on his physique. Vince is a guy who likes big men.
How the typical wrestler is supposed to look.
Big, hairy, burly man.
Yeah.
Vince liked that.
And Vince is not a small guy himself. Vince is 6'4", 270 pounds.
I think he's about 6'1", 6'2".
Well, the reason why I said
he's a decent sized guy. That's above average, right? That's tall.
The reason why I say that size wise is also
it's kind of crazy because I always picture myself as being kind of like a bigger guy, right? Like, but like if I was a wrestler, like I'd be considered a small guy.
I think it's crazy, right?
Like small, chunky guy, right? Like.
After the Undertaker retired, they did a segment, interviews, stuff like that, and they were talking about he centered in on Vince McMahon, and he said, I remember he says, if you can gain Vince's trust, that's all you need. You got everything else.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like you have to.
It was so hard for all these wrestlers.
Yeah, it is, because because a lot of the times when you hear. Especially now, I mean, you're hearing it now that Vince's doors weren't always open. It was very hard to get to him, to talk to him and stuff like that. And I think there's a sense in the locker room now that, Triple H is going to be a little bit more open, right?
Come on, give me ideas.
Exactly. So we'll see how it is with him, because we also have to realize that Triple H has a medical condition now. And how much of this can he actually take? Is he just filling in for now until, his just because they're in need of people in that position that have the experience, that have the mind for it, so they can, pretty much train or get someone to fill in those positions when he can't anymore, right? Because again, he's limited, right? He just came off of a procedure, came off of a serious one too. And we'll see how much he can actually take. But as far as Bray Wyatt, I can't, if there's any truth to that, his return, I'm all for it. I love it. Again, we're missing that Mystique character that's like the dark, like Undertaker, Kane, like those characters. We're missing that. We don't have a character like that in WWE.
It's Mayor Kane.
It's Mayor. Well, it's Mayor Glenn Jacobs. Kane is his alter ego, right? But
so like I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No,
I'm saying, like we were saying, so if Bray is coming back, when would be the perfect moment, you guys think, to bring him back? Would you wait till WrestleMania? Would you wait till Royal Rumble? Would you just have him just randomly pop up? When would be the biggest moment, you think, to bring him back?
What's the next show? The next Big Four show is the Survivor Series, no?
Which is, it's in November.
I would say Survivor Series, if it's a thing.
Yeah.
Survivor Series. I mean, like Undertaker debuted in the Survivor Series, right?
Yes.
A Bray Wyatt would be awesome if they had like a Survivor Series, like, and a guest, not a guest, but a mystery partner, right?
Yeah.
Like that's Undertaker was a mystery partner. No one knew who the Undertaker was.
Yeah.
But like Bray Wyatt would fit that bill. If Bray Wyatt can keep it quiet, Triple H has been keeping it quiet. No one knew that these wrestlers who are making their appearance now,
There was nothing. That was
there
pretty
was
good.
nothing.
Yeah.
They were pretty
That
good
was
at
all
keeping
Triple
a
H.
secret. And honestly, I think that a lot of these people get their news and their reports like have like insiders
Yeah.
that probably didn't respect Vince that much, and that's probably why they
Yeah.
I
That's
feel
probably
like
why
now
a
that
lot of
he's
people
gone,
think
there's
that.
like a respect level maybe for Triple H that they're not releasing things, or Triple H is keeping it just a tight circle of people that
Yeah.
which is smart. And that's how you're getting all these surprises coming back and like nothing on them, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully there's nothing on Bray Wyatt. I'm hoping that there's no news, no one's anticipating, like no one's
And he
talking
just
about it.
pops up. That would
And
be
then he
great.
just pops up with his Fiend character out of the blue,
Yeah.
right? And that decimates people, right?
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. Rebuild the character. And Vince McMahon is not there to squash it anymore, right?
Yeah.
So-
You say that about the Wyatt and the Undertaker thing. Do you really think that it would be like a history repeating itself? Do you really think that if Wyatt did the same thing, almost like the Undertaker, that big kind of, do you really think that it would make him popular? Like, in other words, history repeating itself? Do you really think that would be a go for
It
them?
already has. It already has. I mean, look, Bray Wyatt, Undertaker is going to be his own thing. Bray Wyatt is kind of that mystique character, like that deranged, dark character.
Mhm.
It's different from Undertaker. He made
Yes.
it his own, right? So Undertaker was his own thing. Bray Wyatt is his own thing. Bray Wyatt is more of like this deranged, like psychotic thing, like almost demonic. It's just different. It's just
Yeah.
a different
Like
presentation. I'm sorry?
Like gothic almost. Jay, what do you think?
Kind of.
I think eventually, I mean, over time, if they did bring Bray back, he could reach that Undertaker level. It
He
wouldn't
could.
happen tomorrow, but he has all the stepping stones for it. He's never going to be Undertaker, let's be honest, but you need that character, as Cliff is saying, that mysterious character that just pops up. And like it was, like I said, one of the
Right.
biggest regrets had to be that, getting rid of him.
I understand what you're saying. It's. I mean, I do a crazy analogy. It's like a TV show. You have like a superstar, then you got like a chick kind of guy, and then you got like a goofy kind of guy, like a Saved by the Bell. You know what I'm saying?
You
have
need
to have-
all,
you
you
have
need
to
all
think
sorts
of
of
it.
characters, and I just think that once you have that character, it kind of, it completes it, right? Because they're
Yeah.
missing something. Like, it makes it fresh.
Yeah.
Right? You have a different story now, and things that people anticipate, like, but again, I can only compare it to the Undertaker because he's the one that actually has done it and has perfected it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the only person that was close to doing that is Bray Wyatt. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Even when he was doing the whole Eater of Worlds gimmick, like, with not Eater, his like almost like a what's that wrestler's name? Waylon Mercy, maybe? Remember him?
I don't
He
know.
was kind of like a cult leader, right?
Yeah.
Like a cult leader, kind of
Yeah.
deranged cult leader kind of thing. But even when he was doing that, it was dark and mysterious and different,
Yeah.
kind of like the Undertaker. And then he transformed to Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, right? Firefly, which has been his best transformation, his best gimmick has been, having the happy smiley Bray.
That's my
and then
cat.
all
Sorry.
of a sudden wants to be on the podcast. All right, so yeah, that pretty much sums it up. And then the last thing I want to talk about, I want to touch that, and I didn't put it in our
Take your
our
time,
notes here,
Silver.
but I did read is everyone's anticipating, not anticipating, but everyone's wondering what is going to happen with Cody Rhodes now that Triple H is, in power.
Yeah.
Vince is the one that promised Cody Rhodes the push.
Yeah.
And apparently, and everyone knows, well, not everyone, I don't think everyone knows actually, is that Cody Rhodes and Triple H never saw eye to eye when he was there back in 2016.
Yeah.
And then also, if anyone watched AEW when it first started, the whole image of Cody Rhodes taking the hammer to Triple H's phone, remember that? Yeah. Taking a shot at Triple H and WWE. And everyone's wondering if Cody Rhodes is actually going to have a shot now, because, you know, Cody Rhodes tore his pectoral muscle. Has been out since then. And if anyone saw that injury, it looks terrible. Like the whole
that was rough.
Yeah, that looks terrible. It's purple. It looked. Remember, Triple H tore his pectoral during the Shawn Michaels Undertaker match.
Oh
yeah. It's all like purple, like the whole like size, like a giant bruise.
Is he gonna need surgery?
Probably, yeah, definitely need surgery for that. You tore your pectoral, you gotta attach it back on.
I think they're hoping by Royal Rumble for Cody Rhodes to be back. That's like the rumor, maybe.
However, supposedly, while he's injured, he's been doing his merchandise with Mattel for WWE. And it's actually one of the fastest
I read that too.
items. You read that, right?
Yeah.
So he's still in it, man. I think he's still in it. I think WWE is going to see that, okay, he's the real deal, because he's selling his merch. He's selling action figures before they even are on the shelves yet.
Well, yeah.
They're all pre-orders.
Yeah.
Right. And it sold really fast. And I think they said it's the fastest since WWE and Mattel partnered.
So when he gets back, he's going to have a shot. I don't think the whole Triple H thing will really affect him, because money's money.
Money is money. Exactly. And I think that probably since then, Triple H probably looks at him and goes, holy shit, you really turned it around.
Yeah.
And, I think Triple H is one of those guys that, if he makes a mistake, he'll a mistake or a thought, and he'll admit that to that mistake, and admit to that, that he was wrong, and would move on and fix it by giving them the opportunity and doing what they have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's more of an open guy kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't come to work narrow-minded.
Right. So moving on. We're that's pretty much it with the news. A lot of stuff, we're doing these shows every 2 weeks now. Only for now. I think once I'm back in Florida, I'm still in New York here, in upstate New York, and once we get there, we'll probably do it every week again. But for now, we are here and doing this every 2 weeks, and we'll just move on to Raw and SmackDown. I know Jay, you've been dealing with a lot of crap, and it hasn't let you watch the shows or have any time.
No, but I've been hearing great things. I can't wait to hear what you two think, because I've been hearing that it's a whole different show almost. Not, totally, but you notice the difference with Triple H being backstage.
Yeah, and I don't blame Jay. Jay's getting married, everyone, and he's going through all of that. And I remember when I was going through planning our wedding with my wife and I, it was a nightmare for the headache. Trying to track down people, and all that. So I get it, I understand. And I'm sure Joey understands too. So Joey, you married, right?
Yeah, of course I'm married 14 years.
14 years, man. Wow.
Well, technically, I'm dating my wife. I'm technically married almost 14 years.
Joey, how old are you?
36.
77.
Going to be 36 next month.
Damn, you sold your life away that early in life? 14 years ago.
22.
22?
Yep.
Shit, dude.
See, everyone's getting to know us now. The real.
Why is that not so fast?
Listen, I see a piece of cake. I know what I like. There you go. Anyway, we could edit this out.
There you go.
That's staying in.
Hey, no, this is staying in. Is that hey, Joey? What are you afraid of? You said nice things. That's all nice things. Your wife would be proud.
Thank you. I know.
Yeah. So leave it in. Why are you gonna take it out?
I'm not taking. I'm just I'm trying to help my cuts. You know what I'm
You trying to help your cut? All right, help your
How you
cut.
helping me? What are we doing?
Jay, ask your brother. You know.
All right, moving on. So yeah, Raw and SmackDown, they were great. And it seems like they're presenting the women's division a little different, differently, presenting it in with more importance,
Mm.
right? But
Got a different style.
from what I remember, because again, I watched both shows just yesterday. All right, during work, but work was slow, so I was able to catch them, and I'm trying to remember everything that happened. All right, I have a very short memory span, so bear with me. So they were great. They were great matches. I think the highlight for Raw was, in my opinion, the Miz and AJ Styles match was amazing.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I love that match, and I also like Ciampa versus Bobby Lashley. That match, so a lot of Lashley's matches, are typical big man matches, right? But this was good, and I think in part because of Ciampa, really brought a lot out of Bobby Lashley, and Ciampa was great. He was great in the match. If you haven't, obviously Jay, you didn't see it, so watch. There's two matches that you need to watch out of the whole thing. Is Ciampa versus Lashley, and AJ versus The Miz. All right, two matches that off the bat you should watch. Great matches. They were getting "This Is Awesome" chants, right?
Nice.
I think they were better than SummerSlam.
There's a difference here, and you could tell the difference. Now, throughout the whole match, or the show, you kept seeing like, little things here and there that were like subtle, but you're like, what happened? Like, what is going on here? So, for instance, Kevin Owens, and Ezekiel, right? They had an altercation. I think they were supposed to have a match, but Kevin Owens jumped Ezekiel pretty much. And did the power bomb on the apron. You know that move that he always does?
Yeah.
That puts people out, right? For good. So he did that. He jumped them, and then they do a backstage interview of Kevin Owens. And during the backstage interview, you see in the background a car that's been smashed. You saw that, right? A car that's been smashed, and you see like Dewdrop and Nikki Ash, Dewdrop. Dewdrop, and which is interesting because I saw an article that said that she's looking for a name change, and I don't blame her. Please change that name, Dewdrop. What the hell does it even mean? I know what it means. We don't want to go there. Again,
if anybody's got suggestions,
look it up, kids.
Let us know on our Instagram. Maybe we can, contact WWE, change the name.
Well, no, I think Triple H is going to be changing a lot of names. So, and mind you, talking about. Oh, let's stay on topic. So, you see the car in the background, you're like wondering, because you see Dewdrop and Nikki Ash, I think her name is that, right? In the background, you see that car, and them two looking at the car with like referees and officials, like going like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But Kevin Owens is doing his promo, and he's like, Kevin Owens is back, blah blah blah. He's old school Kevin Owens, where he's just like, a piece of crap is going to beat the crap out of you and hurt you and try to hurt you in any way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah.
And then later on in the show, they're having the tag team tournament for the women's tag team championships, and they assembled a whole tag team of people, right? You have Dakota Kai and Io Sky now is her name. not Shirai, but Sky. Okay. And they're going against, well, they're having a program, and you can see the program already against Alexa Bliss and Asuka, right? And they're both of those tag teams are in the tournament. So those two actually have a backstage argument. And while they're having like their backstage argument kind of thing, you see officials start running around and you know, like running in the background, just like going somewhere, right? Like important. And it's like obviously something's going on. What I didn't like that they didn't really capitalize on is how they presented it, because it was very subtle at the end of the match. So, Joey, you remember at the end of AJ Styles versus The Miz, right?
Right.
AJ had won the match, but then there's some scuffle in the audience, but the camera never pans to the audience. At least the camera that I'm on. I mean, I'm assuming it's the same for everybody, right? They never pan to the audience, so you don't see who it is. The camera is staying on AJ the whole time, and AJ is looking out there, but the camera never goes to the audience. You know, like the whole scuffle's going with the security guards. You just hear the commentators say, "What's going on? Is that Loomis? Is that Dexter Loomis?"
It's almost as if they're trying to clue you in to what next is coming about.
Yeah, but it's like you don't see, like, the cameras never pan to Dexter Loomis's face at all. Like, you don't see it. You just know that it's Dexter because the commentators say it was, which I thought was strange, because usually when they do those things, like, the cameras go directly to the fan. Right. So I'm guessing they just wanted to make it a little bit more realistic, in the sense of, like, okay, it's just a fan, so a fan is being wild, but, like, I don't know. It was just kind of a weird presentation for me because I wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
And I think I get what they were trying to do there, but I don't understand. But again, Jay, I'll watch it if you haven't. All right. And you'll understand what we're talking about here. But then going off to SmackDown, right? There again, and Raw was, your typical Raw. And this is the thing, like, people think that, it's a big change, with Triple H now being in control. The shows are no, it's not so different. They're subtle.
Yeah.
They're subtle. It's still the same format, right? It's very subtle. But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. But you do feel a sense of change. You do feel the sense of change, but it is subtle.
Yeah,
you do. It's almost maybe it's like a bad thing, but it's almost as if you have to watch wrestling for so long, whether you followed it like Jade did, or you're in and out like I have, and you watch it and you're experienced, and you're like, wait a sec, I seen a sudden change that would not have happened previously. And now you see the difference, and you're like, whoa. It's almost, Cliff, you could relate to it. Well, Jay, it's almost like a parent thing. You watch a cartoon, and then the producer throws something, an adult thing, and you start laughing. The kid turns around and like, what are you laughing at? No, nothing. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again,
sorry, Jay.
It's a subtle change. It's not like a big difference, but you do feel the sense of there is, that there is change happening, and it's going to continue.
There's no loss in ratings. There's no loss in ratings, so obviously they're staying the ship. They're doing something right.
Honestly, I think there's probably an increase in ratings.
I was going to say, do we know the ratings? Like, how
I don't know the ratings off the top of my head, but I think the first Raw without Vince actually nailed pretty high viewership.
I can check that and look it up before next next episode.
Yeah, and session, like, this is a therapy session.
I think it is for us three.
No, so going over to SmackDown, again, it's a typical SmackDown starting the same way, but I feel like the matchups, the wrestlers are wrestling at almost a different level. I mean, there's a sense of that's where there's like the sense of change. It's like
Yeah.
they're performing on a different level now, maybe with a little bit more confidence. And
they're bringing themselves up to the modern era.
and you hear like my favorite matches was Shinsuke versus Gunther, right? Gunther. I'm trying to say it as like if I was German. But yeah, Gunther and Shinsuke was a fantastic match. And then you see more wrestlers come back that were let go. Hit Row came back. And I don't know if you're familiar with Hit Row. I don't know if anyone's here, but they were an NXT group.
Okay.
And I think what was his name? Isaiah Swerve Scott, I believe it was his name. He's in AEW now. But he was part of that group when he came up. But I guess he wanted work fast, so he signed with AEW.
Yeah.
The other three, Top Dollar, I think is his name as B-Fab, and I forgot the other one's name. I think it begins with an A. They're relatively new. They were called up, and then shortly after being called up, they were released. And they were another group that were getting over. They were actually getting over. People liked them. People enjoyed them. They were actually good. So they came back. Again, another tag match. So on Raw, I forgot to mention that on Raw, they had the women's match. One of the first rounds was Io Shirai and Dakota Kai versus what's her face? Tamina and
I didn't see it.
The one that the 24/7 champion now. What's her name?
Come on, Jay.
I don't know. I've been keeping up with the 24/7 champion. I forgot that was a thing.
God. You know what's funny? I know her real name, but I forgot her wrestling name.
What's her real name?
Ashley something or other.
Then or other.
Dana Brooke.
Yeah, Dana Brooke. She's 24/7 champion. Wow.
Yeah, she is 24/7 champion. So it was her and Tamina versus the other two, Dakota Kai, and I wonder if they're gonna give Dakota Kai and Iro Sky a tag team name.
Maybe they will.
Because they're in a stable with Bailey. I wonder if they're gonna call. Usually they do, but who knows? Oh, one thing that I stopped giving a crap about?
What?
The whole storyline with Judgment Day.
Yeah, that just...
Yeah. But on another note. So, so that was the first round. So you go on SmackDown, they had the other round, which was it was, oh my God, Raquel versus... It was Raquel and Aaliyah. Aaliyah, who's been in NXT for like 20 years. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Like, remember WWE Network? Everyone remembers the WWE Network before it became Peacock, right? I remember when they had the Tough Enough like underground like thing where they were going through all of the. And that was like back in like 2015, I feel like, right?
Mm.
And they were like showing like background of like all of the like wrestler, what's it called? The NXT like Performance Center wrestlers and like following them, like the reality show, right?
Yeah.
And Aaliyah was on that show back in like when I was watching in 2015, and she was always in NXT and never got called up.
Yeah.
Up in like she was in NXT when Baron Corbin was in NXT. That goes to show you how long.
Yeah.
And like she was never called up just until like last year, maybe, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
people
she
just
really
make
lucked out because most people who don't progress that like that, they
Or
usually
yeah.
can, right? I was surprised. Um, but it was her and Raquel versus oh my gosh, Shotzi Blackheart. Now I have to tell you, Shotzi Blackheart, probably a nice person. Her gimmick,
Uh-oh.
Jay's like, it's never good when you start off like that.
Nice person,
She's
but
probably a nice person. She's so freaking cringe. I can't stand her gimmick.
yeah.
I can't stand her thing, especially when she's in NXT and she was coming out with the tank.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
so
look at-
cringe. Every time she came out, I wanted to turn off the TV. I'm like, this shit is horrible. All right, what do you have to say about that?
Obviously, it's doing wonders because she got your attention for you to say it's cringe.
No, I would turn it off.
Yeah,
Literally,
but you're still
turn it off.
talking.
She
You're
got
still
my
talking
attention in the worst way possible. You want people to watch you, not people to turn you off.
Well, you're going to turn into the next time to see her on.
No.
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 Next topic.
The only
No.
reason why I watched the only
Thank
reason
you,
why
Jay.
I watched this match is because I'm a big fan of Raquel, actually. So
Thank you, Jay. Next time.
I like Raquel. I think she's come a long way,
Yeah.
right? And she's a taller, bigger woman, and she's like an Amazon, right? Like she's built like an Amazon. So like that's fantastic to watch because you don't see that much. You
Yeah.
only have like a few. They got rid of Nia Jax. Tamina's the only other one that's like a bigger woman, right?
Yeah.
You can make the argument that Dewdrop is a bigger woman, but it's not.
It's not working.
It's not height wise, and
Yeah.
I don't want to body shame because I'm a big guy too. I'm fluffy, right? So it's the height too. It's
Yeah.
Raquel's like 6 feet. Raquel's my height. She's literally my height.
Yeah.
She's tall. She's a tall woman. So it's nice. It's cool to watch to see that. And she's come a long way, and maybe Braun will come back because if no one knows, Braun and Raquel are an item. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh,
They are.
okay.
Yeah. They're an item, so maybe they come back. Raquel can whisper in Triple H's ear and be like, "Yo, I want my boo back,"
Right.
and Braun comes back. Who knows? I think Braun is part of that whole create your own narrative with EC3.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new wrestling company.
Yeah.
I honestly think WWE should. It was Vince again. Shit the bed with EC3. Another one. But all right, so pretty much all you need to know about Raw and SmackDown is that they were good shows. A lot of good action. If you haven't watched it, watch it. But it really doesn't. It only really goes into furthering Roman Reigns's feud with McIntyre because McIntyre's #1 contender. Karrion Kross made his appearance, and he's making it clear that Roman is his target.
Yeah. He's
but anyone in front of Roman is going to be his target too. So,
they're rumored for for November for the pay-per-view. Yeah, because supposedly Roman Reigns, he's not advertised for Extreme Rules, which I think is October in Philly. So that's supposedly the next feud. I would love to go.
I would love to go too.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? All right, so Raw and SmackDown. So really what I wanted to focus on with this episode, and Jay, you're gonna love this because you like
the ghost might appear in a second.
You like women's wrestling, and as we know, you had a show with Casey at one point, with covering just women's wrestling exclusively.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put that in as our topic today because I found it interesting as I was watching. I feel like there's a resurgence with women's wrestling.
And it needs to happen.
And it's starting with this women's tag team because it's displaying a lot of women's wrestling and women that we haven't seen on a regular basis. So, for instance, they even brought up and put in a tag team of what's her name, Nikita Lyons from NXT and Zoe Stark, I think her name is.
Zoe Stark.
Yeah, Zoe Stark. She's in the tournament, which is nice because they're going to be displaying the new faces.
Yeah.
They have Alexa Bliss and Asuka back in the action. Dakota Kai and Io Sky. You have them in the mix, and bringing back the girl from a BFAB from Hit Row is back. They're going to probably do something with her. I just think that the way that they're making this tournament, it looks like a serious thing. That there's going to be a resurgence with women's wrestling, in my opinion. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Am I wrong? Do you think that they're going to shit the bed with this one like they've had in the past? Because remember, they had the whole women's revolution and evolution, and it was all great. And then it kind of died down. So what do you guys think?
Listen, when they had the pay-per-view at Nassau Coliseum for the what was it called? Was it Revolution? It's called for the all women's
Evolution. I think it was
Evolution.
Yeah, Evolution. Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely they shouldn't have the it's now time to go to the bathroom match anymore. They're very talented, and yeah, I'm totally for it, as you guys know.
I'm so down for it. I think that it should be if it gets to the point where it can't be controlled popularity wise. I personally think that what they should do is like SmackDown and Raw. They should do like a Evolution night, have like a third TV night, just women's wrestling, or you know what I'm saying?
I always thought about that too, but I don't know if it would do well. I don't know.
Great minds think alike, Jay. Great minds think alike.
I really don't know if it would do well. Like I said, for the pay-per-view when they did it back in Nassau Coliseum, that did well, but I don't know about like a weekly women's show.
You know what I found interesting?
Or maybe just throw a male match in there. Just hypothetically say, Roman Reigns and Goldberg.
But then that's gonna take away from the women. Then if you're gonna throw in like a giant man's match, then if you were gonna have your own women's wrestling show, but we'll throw in a men's match, then that just takes away from everything. Then you need a man there to make people watch.
Yeah. Then that defeats the purpose, right?
Yeah.
Of making that defeats the purpose of actually making the women's wrestling stand out, because again, you need to have a man in the mix to have the viewers, and that's we're trying to elevate the women's, right, without having.
I'll watch the women's.
Yeah, I would too, but that's the thing. They have to display the women that can actually work. I actually enjoyed watching. I think Alexa Bliss had a match too. Alexa Bliss and Asuka, I believe, had a match as well on Raw. And again, my short-term memory, but I swore I remember liking it. But even the match between Io Sky and I keep forgetting her name. Dakota Kai, Io Sky versus the other two women, Tamina and Dana Brooke. Right? That match there was actually very, very solid. I actually enjoyed it. And Dana has always been kind of not the best with in-ring skill, but I was actually quite impressed with her in-ring skill on this one. I really enjoyed Raquel and Aaliyah, and I was surprised because Aaliyah has also been one of a kind of like a Dana Brooke, not very polished in the ring, but she did very well actually. And then Raquel, was the workhorse, was the one to really hold it together in that team, right? But I think Shotzi Blackheart and Xia Li, who went up against the other two, they looked like they had communication issues in the ring,
Yeah.
and they botched a little bit.
It
You
looked
saw
like
that, right?
I seen a little. It didn't look like as if they were communicating. It almost was as if like we're doing right now. I stopped talking for a second. You think I'm gonna talk, so we kind of like you're waiting for me, I'm waiting for you type. And it wasn't. I don't think it was fully practiced out. But I gotta say, with overall with the women's, I really think that this is different times. Obviously, it's gonna go big. It's gonna go real big, and I think that they're gonna have to pull away and make a woman's and then a man's, and then somehow integrate it, vice versa, like I was saying before. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out in the next couple of months, years. But I think really that I'm all for it. And with Stephanie being in charge now, that's it. It's gonna go to a different it's gonna go to a different height.
I hope so, because again, she took a lot of the credit too when it came to the women's evolution pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that happen because they have a lot of new faces. I actually wanted to and I'm going to start watching a little bit more of the NXT. This Zoe Starks. Why you got your pencil over there?
Ready.
Right.
I got what's it called? I want to see Zoe Starks. I think it's Zoe Starks. I don't want to make the same mistake I did last time where I called Ricky Starks Tony Stark, like Iron Man.
It's Zoe Stark.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, she looks like she's a badass, and she looks like she actually knows how to wrestle. Yeah, it's Zoe Stark. There you go. Good job, man. Good job. He did his homework. Yay! I know I'm an asshole sometimes. Please.
So am I. So feelings mutual.
That's why we all get along here.
Yeah. We're the three instead of the three amigos. It's the three.
So speaking of the whole women's thing, has there been an update? Have you guys heard about anything with Sasha and Naomi?
Not Sasha and Naomi, but what I did hear, which is kind of unfortunate, is that I read an article that said the creative has nothing for Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
why?
And Lacey Evans apparently was a Vince McMahon girl.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for her? And she's so good. Like, she actually is really good. She has the look. She can wrestle. Obviously there are times she's botched, but I think that's just more nerves than anything. I think she's a really talented act. I think they ruined her
when they brought her back this time, because she was good, she's bad, she's good, she's bad. That's gonna kill her.
And that gimmick just doesn't work. I like her old Southern Belle gimmick,
right?
That worked so perfectly, and she did it so well.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't bring her back. I don't know if maybe, and again, with Vince, it's always an appearance thing. So I don't know if she doesn't, her body doesn't look the same because of pregnancy. Like, she was pregnant and she couldn't come back to her old form. Maybe, I don't know. She looks great in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she does, you don't. There's nothing noticeable.
Right. Like, I don't notice anything.
Yeah.
But Vince has a warped mind. Everyone knows, and that's why he's in the position he's in right now. But I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, why? Why toy with something? Like, why try to fix something that isn't broken?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Fix something that's not broke. But
right, exactly.
We'll see how it pans out. You know what I'm saying? It only time will tell. That's basically it.
Well, if they have any what's it called? Any what's it called? Will to make this women's evolution, and maybe even have their own pay-per-view or display women on a regular basis.
Exactly.
I wonder if they could, like, if it starts getting big and it starts getting that back and that backing, if they could make like maybe another show dedicated to women only,
They
like
could.
like an hour or 2 hours, and it doesn't have to be like a syndicated show where it's like on like what they did for 205 Live, like where you
Yeah,
stream
yeah,
it on Peacock or something like that, rather than having it on cable. Just a stepping stone, right?
hmm
Well,
And then if it gets viewership, then maybe they can syndicate it on regular TV.
I think that they should. I think that, and a lot of people should, think the same way that we're thinking too. Not that we're trying to, brainwash anybody, but definitely,
I
definitely think of.
I saw a YouTube video of Triple H giving contracts to new trainees at NXT.
hmm
Majority of those contracts were women.
Yep, they were.
They're lacking. They need
But I think they got good faces. I actually took a glimpse of this new one, Nikita Lyons. And something about her bothers me. Like, not necessarily, she has the look, right?
Yeah.
She has the look. Her finishing move is stupid.
What is
I
it?
don't know if you've seen it. All right, so her whole thing is, and you could see it, is that she has a big booty, right?
Okay.
A big booty woman, right? And her finisher is she does like a jumping split and split on top of it,
Okay.
right? And it's like that doesn't look like a devastating like finisher.
Yeah.
Like at least Hulk Hogan, when he did a leg drop, he actually jumped like almost 6 feet in the air,
And then
dropped the leg,
yeah.
right? And he's a big guy, so that's that would actually do some damage. But like just a split and you're on top of them,
So
like
she doesn't jump or anything. She just goes.
So she just
like
goes
with
down.
goes down with a big booty, like
That's it.
Like a-
Oh, I thought at least like you said, like, at least he like did a jump or something. That's it.
No, it's not bad, but it's almost like I mean, I wouldn't compare it like that. But you know what I'm saying? A Rikishi.
kind of, sort of. It just does not look devastating. It's as devastating as the people's elbow, but at least The Rock made it look good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So as far as that, I think the women's wrestling it may take off if they get Sasha and Naomi back, which you touched on. That would be great, especially Sasha, because obviously Sasha is a little bit bigger name than Naomi.
Yeah.
Like you said, Sasha is more money. I think you said that in the last episode. Sasha is more profitable than Naomi is, unfortunately, even though Naomi is a hell of a talent. But yeah, I mean, I think that they're going good, especially in NXT. They're showing more women too. They have Cora Jade there, which is a new one that people seem to like.
Yeah, I've been hearing that name pop up a lot.
Cora Jade, yeah.
Mhm.
I think there's good things to come with the women's division. They just need to polish a little bit more. I think that especially with certain wrestlers, like you have Shotzi Blackheart and Xia Li.
Mhm.
They both had communication issues. They need to polish it up a little bit more. But overall, I think the match was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall with the women's, I think Stephanie she'll grab a hold of that one and she'll.
In my opinion, they need to give, and I don't know if she maybe has it already, the title, but they need to have Natalya as like that Undertaker role for the women's, right? Like that locker room leader kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Because in my opinion, no one in there is as skilled as Natalya. Natalya is old school, trained in the dungeon by the best, right?
Yeah.
Her uncle is the best. There is the best there was. Everyone knows Bret Hart, right? Okay.
No, it's being funny, but it's true. The people say that the thing all the time. Oh, it's in the blood. It is in the blood.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
She was born, raised, and grew up in it.
I mean, look at half the wrestling thing. Rhodes. You know what I'm saying? The Hearts. I mean, let's keep going. I mean, I even seen a video clip that the Undertaker's. He's got a daughter. He's got his daughter in wrestling now.
And also The Rock. The Rock.
I saw, The Rock too. Yeah.
Rock too. So, you have these dynasties, these generational superstars. Even Randy Orton is a generational superstar. So, you do have it, like you said, it's in the blood, right? And I honestly think that Natalya can be that general sculpt the new talent into being great. And if they really want the women's, evolution and women's wrestling to be top notch, they need to learn from someone like Natalya, the in-ring skills, and all of that, and so they can polish it up and be really good. And if they are able to do that, I saw your ghost, by the way.
Yeah.
But he's not doing anything that is, I don't think, funny enough for a caption. Oh, never mind. Maybe he is.
What do you mean? It's on back there?
Yeah.
As far as the heart situation, just to old school throw it back. I'm gonna try to put it up on my Instagram if I can get a chance. I seen a thing where Bret Hart, I think somewhere over here, is doing a signing. And it's not, I think it's
he's doing like a tour thing, like it's called the Heart Attack or something like that. In my opinion, it's a very poor choice of work. It's like,
hey, I'll pay the money to go get the autograph and take the picture.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I would love to get my belt signed.
Speaking of Bret Hart, I think it was my Father's Day gift. My first Father's Day gift. Sarah actually had purchased a cameo.
Oh, really?
From Bret Hart, yeah. I'll send it to you guys so you guys.
Oh wait, I think I saw it. Didn't you?
Probably saw it. Yeah, you probably saw it.
All right. Why didn't I see it?
Because you weren't friends yet on Facebook yet. Well, that was before I even knew you.
You should know me.
I should know you. Yeah,
you should have known
me because my name is Cousin Joey, and everyone knows Cousin Joey. Yeah. Hey, you should know me.
Moving on.
Oh boy.
All right. So that pretty much sums up that topic. Women's wrestling making a resurgence. I think it might be. It seems like everyone is hopeful that it might be. That's going to happen. So
I think our viewers should definitely let us know.
We are at your favorite topic, Joey. This is your favorite topic. Joey's 2 cents. So today, what do you got for us, Joey? It better be good, because I'm telling you, every time we have this show, I'm going to be threatening to give you your future endeavors if it's not good enough.
That sucks.
We got plenty of people knocking down the door to be on this show.
So many people. They're lining up. They're lining up out my door. Most of them are deer, but
Two things. I do the Q&A, and then definitely what we hot topic about what we spoke about today. Who was Shawn Michaels' first tag team?
First tag team partner?
Shawn Michaels. Who was it?
In WWE? Well,
doesn't matter what letter it was.
I would assume that it's Marty Jannetty. Yeah. That was it.
We never. We got to get harder ones.
All right. And the definitely the second sense is I definitely want to see it go with women's wrestling. Like you said, their own pay-per-view or something like that. I think so. And I think that with the picture that I had sent you guys with Vince Crown and Stephanie, it's going to be a whole different new ball game. You're like, what is it? Triple H? What was it? People used to say, he wears the pants, but I tell him what color to wear.
Never heard of that saying. I actually kind of like that.
You never heard of that?
No, but I like that.
Yeah, it'd be like, he wears the pants in a family, but I tell them what color to wear, and she's running the show.
I like that,
Green,
Cousin
blue
Joey.
screen.
All right, that's
Yeah.
good. I like that.
Joey, you're doing alrighty.
Yeah, he is. He's doing
You're
all
welcome
right.
back.
He's doing his homework.
Thank you. Is it 2 weeks or next week? 2 weeks or next week?
2 weeks. Cliff is still in the boonies up there.
Jay, you know, I'm a little disappointed because cousin Joey did his homework.
I know. Cousin Joey's the best.
Look at him. He did his homework.
He can't do much homework. He's up in Pottsville, New York, or wherever he is up there. Glenn Watts.
I'm a block from the beach. My yacht is waiting for me. Come on.
Yeah,
Enough with this show.
You live in a yacht club or something like
Enough
that.
with this show. Come on.
My food is in the microwave, okay?
Your food is in the microwave. Oh, he didn't have his grand breakfast yet. I didn't either. So, on that note,
Breakfast time.
I just would like to say that if you guys like our content, please like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, that sums up our show. And we will catch you not this coming week, but the following week. We will have another episode 7, and we will catch you all then. So you guys take care and enjoy your days, folks. Have a good one.
Peace for life.